The biggest lessons that we learned this week while running our business that's on track to do 3 mil in euros this year is that we're not taking big enough risks. And in this video, I'm going to go through all the tangible, like literal lessons and points of proof, things that happened throughout the week of July 10th to July 18th within our business. My name is Colin Pettit. I'm COO at the A Players Club. Myself and James Galligan are running the exclusive online members club for entrepreneurs, hosting entrepreneurs making anywhere between 10 to multiple seven figures a month, all within their early 20s. I'm making these videos to really just document what happens throughout the week for tangible lessons so you can learn from my mistakes and what we learn along the way. I'm going to go through everything that happened, everything that went well, all the calls that were made, etc., all the lessons that we learned in tangible terms, all with the attempt of attracting talent, opportunities, network, and again, having it so that you don't have to learn the lessons that we did. So to kick it off, the decisions that were made this week. Failure through lack of risk was actually a really big one. So to put it in a tangible example, we were stuck in testing for a long time with the new ad strategy that we were launching. I think it was like 4 weeks where we were only spending like $200 a day. And we were killing ourselves because we were aiming for quality. Like we're a very like brand-led business, so we care much more about quality over quantity. In like our marketing, literally everything, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So we trickle that into our marketing. The metric that you measure by will dictate the quality of people that you get back. There's definitely a better way of saying that, but you get what I'm saying. So we were stuck in testing for way too long, given our low ad spend. So instead, we let go. We took a bit of risk and switched our strategy to CBO. The aim with doing this from like a logical perspective and like media buying perspective was, instead of being like very specific with who we're targeting and like telling Meta and kind of like trying to guess what Meta thinks would have the quality that we're looking for, given that we have a very low testing budget, we decided to let Meta do it. I'm not a media buyer. I'm COO. I lead execution on a day-to-day between team operations, systems, communication, while also working on high-level strategy for the company with James. Again, I'm not a media buyer. So this was like a big wake-up call for me, to be honest. Systemizing individuality. This was kind of a mistake. Like it did end up like kind of teeing me up for some value that I got later. James is the founder. He's like extremely brand led, and that is why the business is so successful, because we do not sacrifice brand values for anything. It bleeds into absolutely everything that we do. So my aim is really just like cutting fluff and buying the team more leverage. So what I try doing, given that brand is such a huge part of the business, is I try just like literally sitting down with James and just being like, listen, bro, I need to get like your brain on paper so that everybody else in the business can understand how they can articulate the brand in the same way that you do, so that we save time and everybody's more efficient. So I got him on a call at pointed questions where I tried to get the brand on paper. Obviously it didn't work because it was like I didn't put enough thought into it. I didn't plan it out enough. And it was kind of on a whim that I did this, versus now I actually have a very structured process that we're going to do where we're just getting the brand on paper. But this kind of didn't work. Moving on. It helped with me setting up like a Claude chat though, that I'm using now, and the team's using a lot to kind of mimic James's brain on paper. But again, we have plans, and again, to that another video on how we're going to deconstruct that and get it on paper. Data. So like the biggest mistakes, not letting go soon enough. This is a huge one. So we brought on an events manager. In the beginning, it was our first role in like the online world. So onboarding was very, very heavy and time intensive from me. I was working with her on a day-to-day, practically hand-holding her through the entire like workflow. And I underestimated, or is it overestimated? I basically had the wrong perception in my head of how long she would be within that onboarding phase. So I didn't recognize when she was competent enough to graduate out of that onboarding phase where it was such a degree of hand-holding. So that hold on, a plane's about to fly up. Basically, I failed to recognize the speed at which I could let go in terms of how much hand-holding I was doing within the role, which meant and led to it being perceived by her as me managing her when I was really trying to help her, but doesn't matter. It like as like someone that was managing her, like as a leader in this perspective, I take responsibility for it. I need to get better at recognizing when I can start letting go and to what degree. Which again is like why that's kind of a big lesson in this video, is like letting go costs you more than it makes you a lot of the time. And to be honest, I still don't have a clear answer on how to judge this, because it's like very circumstantial depending on the person. And for a lot of people, you're going to be able to tell And it was probably because I just had so much else going on within the business that I kind of failed to realize. But this was like way back in January. And the reason that this is data, which goes on to the conversation that was most likely to have this week, was actually because I kind of approached her. Actually, I didn't mention the conversation here, but I approached her and just kind of owned up to it because there was like a really fragmented relationship there for a while because she was kind of getting a bit resentful to me for like managing her in her perception, which she was totally right to do because, like, again, it was my fault. Um, and I was just avoiding a tough conversation, which I shouldn't have done. So I owned up to it. I approached her and just said, listen, it's completely my fault. And that actually goes on with lessons, which I might as well go on to right now. Show people how much you care before showing them how much you know. I basically approached the conversation with the perspective of, listen, I know it seems like I'm managing. I'm really just trying to help. But you're killing it right now. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, you tell me, like, how do you want to work? Like, I really care about you. You're obviously a killer because, like, I'm trying to manage you and you're doing a better job than I could because, like, this is your only job and you're, like, becoming an expert at it. Like, I really care about you in this business. Like, what do I need to change and how I work with you for you to have better results? And that's actually how I was conversation. I got this from Uncle Nelson, who's my mentor. Find you and Uncle Nelson. What else did I wouldn't be shit? Managing over leading. Focus this week. Putting a band-aid over a broken leg. Yeah, so timelines are a bit fucked up. This was back in January when that onboarding first happened. Again, this is the week of July. During this week, I was very big in my AI bag. I was trying to outsource event organization to AI, which could have been a good idea. But is it the bottleneck of the business? No. This was me kind of just trying to put a band-aid over a broken leg, justifying that the reason that we weren't seeing the results from event organization that we wanted to was because of that fragmented relationship. So at the time I had that conversation around this week. So I was still like misinterpreting what the actual cause was. And I was trying to like fix the fragmentation of output in the events management department with an AI bot because I thought that the issue was the person when really it was me. And I just had to take responsibility, own up to it, and kind of have that conversation, which I did. Putting a band-aid over a broken leg, built an AI agent to organize events rather than fixing a skill issue. Skill issue. I was being kind of nice rather than figuring out why the issue was occurring and developing important leadership skills, which I'm glad I did in retrospect. I tried avoiding through automation of a system that was not ready to be automated. Shout out to Elon's algorithm. I shouldn't have automated it. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. Retrospect is conversation. Alignment comes from the top down. Team member making this same mistake. A sales rep was asking for a custom doc on a call because they were like kind of overthinking the call going into it and thinking, oh shit, this guy's like very qualified. I need to like do everything I can to stack all the cards in my favor. And there's a difference between stacking the cards in your favor and trying to cheat the system. It's again like kind not nice. I said it a minute ago. This was an example of this guy trying to be kind not nice to himself, probably without realizing it. He wanted the doc because he felt like that would give him a better chance of closing. What he was doing was actually being disingenuous and unkind to his future self by robbing himself of the opportunity to take a loss now or make the challenge more difficult, but therefore he would learn more and become better, develop more skills, and in future have less of a crutch on himself. So in the short term, by having this doc, he was stacking the cards in his favor by closing a deal. In the long term, he was stacking the cards against himself by building himself a crutch in order to close deals. If the lead doesn't close without a doc, it's a sales issue. The doc is leverage key. Pretty simple. Just kind of go up and write the lessons. Not taking risks this week, as you can see, was kind of our biggest cost. The general theme of this week, visible at multiple points. In a company born to innovate, the risk is not innovating. The real risk is thinking it's safe to play it safe. That is such a bar. Like, no more needed to be said on that. Like, you can reference that to some points in this video. Broken dynamic with event organizer because I was managing over leading, and I tried putting a band-aid over it. I ended up just needing to fall on the sword. And you need to be able to do that as a leader. Leaders set the standard and lead by it. And whatever a follower sees a leader do, they're going to mimic. Leaders go first and are always the first to blame in avoiding conflict. Yeah, I should have taken responsibility much sooner. Fell on the sword, owned up to avoiding combo, understood their point of view, outlined outcome needed, what do you need? I call this the A-player test. You can see it in multiple other videos, but asking like, do you need my help, after diagnosing what a next action somebody on your team needs to do in order to fix a problem, in order to develop a new system, get an outcome that you want. Asking them, do you need my help, after making them outline what they're going to do next, distills a insane amount of like perceived responsibility. And oftentimes, if they're an A player, will just result in them taking it more seriously, because they understand, okay, I was offered help but I didn't do it, like I own this shit. They become the outcome. They take pride in it. But yeah, that's kind of everything. Again, my name is Colin Pettit. I'm COO of Players. I work on high level strategy with James Galligan, the founder. We run Europe's and soon to be the globe's hub and number one home for online entrepreneurs in their 20s. If that sounds like something you're interested in, let me know. I'm going to keep on documenting all my weeks on lessons, etc., so you don't have to learn the lessons that I did, and I'm never going to stop. I'm making these videos because I know in a couple of years I wish I could look back on what I was doing and how I became the person that I am now.